Yeah, Usaid came. Usaid is EC student, huh? Usaid is EC student, huh?
Yes, yes, yes. That's why you go to some other place. Meeting distance. We will discuss in meeting. Don't discuss directly. You don't log in now. Yes, log in now. No problem. You see only the shape is there. You see only the shape is coming. No questions only. There was only there. That's what just very automatically. Hello. 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 Google Meet. Google Meet.
Okay, sir. Give the invite. Link.
Kamal sir.
Yes.
Said. Said, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute, Said. I'm streaming. I'm arranging.
Okay, sir. Sure.
1 minute.
Like some more participants who should come. Jyoti sir,
Wait, one is blocking.
shall we wait for 1 or 2 minutes? Let the students and others should join.
समीर हेलो हाँ भाई बोलो वालेकुम सलाम बोलो वो
लॉग इन ना नहीं वो नहीं है नया लिंक है देखो अभी लिंक डाले तो है देख लीजिए
It's working, sir. Internet issues. I check, sir. Same YouTube also. So just record it, upload it later. No. Because the link is not working. I'll do nothing. Okay. I have to stop this. मुझे तो यार नहीं मेरे को कोई कोई समझ में नहीं आ रहा मुझे
मतलब सेशन है अभी चल रहा, मतलब बच्चे आ रहे हैं अभी। बाय बाय पैर नई लिंक आई कल कल की कल बोल रहे भाई जल्दी कहीं को किसके पास टॉर्क फोन है? मेरी मल्टीमीटर में छोटा ही से वोल्टेज ज्यादा नहीं आता। अच्छा ठीक है, रख 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 फोन रख, काम इंपॉर्टेंट कॉल रख। हेलो
हाँ भाई वो लाइव स्ट्रीम का कैसा करना बोलो सॉफ्टवेयर का यहाँ पे
किसको बोल रहे हैं?
सर ट्राई कर रहे हैं बट वो नहीं कर
लाइव
रहा
स्ट्रीम
स्ट्रीम
का आई थिंक ज्योति कुमार सर के पास से उनके लैपटॉप में ही उस पर यूट्यूब पे से जाके करना पड़ेगा ना, वो सॉफ्टवेयर यूज करके।
नहीं वो कर रहे हैं है सॉफ्टवेयर नहीं बस वो नहीं कर रहा हूँ नहीं कर रहे हैं तो आपका स्पीच भी होगी
पता नहीं फिर वो वहीं लैपटॉप पे देखना पड़ता। अब मैं एक्सप्लेन कैसा करूँ, समझ नहीं आ रहा मेरे को यहाँ से। सॉफ्टवेयर के अलग रहता ना स्टेप्स।
वीडियो कॉल करना।
कर सकते हैं। आई एम सो श्योर कैसा नहीं आ रहा ज्योति। आप ज्योति कुमार सर को क्या मसला क्या आ रहा है, एरर?
लाइव स्ट्रीम नहीं हो पा रहा।
यहाँ पे एक्चुअली मैं पार्टिसिपेंट्स को एडमिट एडमिट कर रहा हूँ अंदर, तो आई एम नॉट श्योर मैं दूसरा कॉल भी अटेंड कर पाऊंगा नहीं बोल के।
अच्छी बात है, पावरफुल है, थैंक यू, अच्छी
चलिए।
बात है।
कहाँ है बे?
It's not, is it not connecting to the server? Okay, no, sir. Completely close it off. We'll install once more. Morning also I tried again. No problem, sir, no problem. Do it. So, just do this one. Because this is the
CSA and IT group were unable to send it.
in the section group also it's do one thing. Here it should come. That window, what we are capturing, no, that should come here. Connect streaming software. He's asking for connection purpose. No connected, no. Sir, this recorded, sir, no problem. You will upload it. Record it, we'll upload it. Because the time is 11:40. Okay. Is there this key 5W8Y, huh? This key is same as this key, no? No, just delete it and paste it once more for control it. Same only. Sure, we'll do anything, sir. We'll just record it and we'll upload it. You give YouTube link, no? YouTube link, now do it, sir. That's a good thing. Everyone must join the meeting, you know. So, I think without problem, something. See see the connection timer. Make sure your device is streaming service. No wireless working.
सिर्फ मीटिंग छोड़ दिए. We will start in a few minutes. I think the sir is setting up something at that at their side. The moment they do it, we'll start as soon as possible. Sorry and thank you for waiting. Yes, sir. I think we just recorded and uploaded. I mean, students actually started leaving. Okay. Okay, sure, sir. Because students have already started leaving. So we had around 40 now. We are now going to 30. Oh, oh.
Right, are you there? This is Jyoti Kumar. Are you?
Yes, sir.
Vajay,
Yes, sir.
we will start. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So, good morning, everyone. So now I would like to invite Mr. Kamal Kumar for welcome address.
Yeah. Thank you, Jyoti sir.
Yeah, Kamal Kumar sir, please.
Welcome all the participants and the resource persons, sir, please.
Okay, okay, sir. Good morning to Mr. Shah Alam Rasul Khan, Chairman, Shadan Educational Society,
रिसाउंड आता दो तीन डिवाइस रहता
Mr. Rahman,
है दो तीन डिवाइस रहता है रिसाउंड आता है इसका करो
Shadan College of Engineering and Technology, the directors Professor S.A. Munim and Director Dr. Srinivas, all HODs of Shadan College of Engineering and faculty members and to dear students. SCET Institution Innovation Council under Impact Lecture Scheme is organizing the webinar on Startup Vision and Mission. On behalf of SCET IIC, which is an initiative by Ministry of Education Innovation Cell by AICTE, we are organizing this event. I thank and welcoming to Mr. Deepan Sahu, National Coordinator, and Mr. Sharad Lambar, Zonal in charge Telangana and his team. I thank and welcome organizing team, IIC President Dr. R. Jyoti Kumar, Vice President Dr. Muhammad Ilyas, Convener Dr. Nasib Khan, Coordinator Dr. Amirullah Khan Lodi. I thank and invite speaker today's today's speaker Osaid Ahmed Sharif, co-founder and CEO Guardian, executive team member at Adventure Park Incubation Foundation. So I welcome and thank everyone. Over to the speaker.
Thank you, Kamal sir, for a warm welcome. A very good morning to one and all present here. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. You can go further.
Awesome. So first of all, guys, thank you for joining in. So this is not going to be like some other webinars that you may have attended online. Where I'll just be talking about and you'll be listening. So I would, very much want this to be a two-way communication channel. So, feel free to ask any doubts in between. Feel free to stop me. Just ping it in the chat box and I'll try to make sure that, I answer your questions as we go. Yeah. So starting with our topic. So what word, comes in mind when you talk about, startup? Like, what do you think about it? Can maybe some type in the chat box, like what is a startup according to you? You can write it in the chat box, guys.
Osaid, sorry for interruption. Kindly record the session, please.
Yes sir, I am recording.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. So I would like the participants to just type one single message in the chat, type what is a startup according to you. I mean, is it a business? Okay, when you start your own business or company, that's correct, Imran. Any other variations to that, or are we going to stick to that? Where innovation takes place, that's an excellent one. A young company. Okay, awesome. So yeah, the terms that you all have used are actually correct to a startup. A startup is basically a young company, or where innovation takes place compared to other businesses that are out there. And when you start your own company or a business, so you call it a startup because you have just started it out. So startup can be of anything from selling vada paos at street to coming up with complex blockchain solutions for the big companies out there. Startup necessarily only means that you starting up something, you trying to solve a problem. Solving. So what is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is someone who solves a problem. He is known as an entrepreneur. Money comes second. The first and primary thing is to solve a problem. So now, while coming up with your startup, or while starting up, or while setting up your company, there are a few important aspects that you need to keep in mind before running your own startup. Because if the base is not strong, there's a good chance that the startup will fail. and startup do fail because we have a 97% of failure, if I'm not wrong, in the world of startups. And that is mainly because of two reasons or three reasons. That is, one, the founders give up easily, that they are not cut out for it. Or number two is they don't have a strong foundation, or they don't have a strong principle in the startup, and that is where they lose their vision. So, hearing the word vision, like, what is the definition of a vision, right? A vision means the ability to see. And that is what we all know, that is what we are going to talk about, in this today's session of ours. So, what is a vision? Like, what should be your vision while taking your idea? Let's take an example, like, you are running a company, and you want to provide taxi or cab services to the people. Let's imagine Ola and Uber did not exist. So what can be your vision, or what should be your vision in terms of that? Vision means thinking how far you can see. In the terms, like, your vision should be, I will be the number one taxi cab service provider. That is the common thing that comes to our mind, right? So I'll be the best taxi provider in the city, or maybe in the country, or maybe in the whole wide world. So vision basically means how far you can see your own company, moving forward. So it is very, very crucial for us to make sure that our vision is not headed into the wrong direction. One way, now, people usually ask, ideas kaisa aate aapko? Like, how do you come up with ideas? Or startup mein hai na, bhai, kya, kis pe kaam karna? What should we work on? So, there's a big proverb, by one of the famous guy. Anybody who takes a bath have ideas. There are no shortage of ideas around. If you sit someplace, you will see 10 number of problems around, and you just have to solve one problem, and that will become your startup, or that will you will become an entrepreneur because you are solving a problem. So that is the beauty of ideas, that is the beauty of startup. You don't have to open, you don't need money. First of all, you don't need big office spaces to run your startup. You just need to solve the problem. Now, many things, let's take an example, like, where the problem is. Each and every mind here who thinks, who have an idea, is like an elephant. And we all are tied with our mentality that, we cannot do anything. An elephant is basically tied to a rope. Don't you think the elephant have the power to break it out? That is what is, common in each and every one of us, because we as human beings have the capability to think. A normal person will think. It just depends on the direction as to where we want to think. If you want to solve a problem, nobody in this world can stop you. If you want to do something, nobody in this world will stop you. It's your own mentality that is, stopping you, or it's our own mentality that is stopping us, or that was stopping us. Like, अरे भाई ये नहीं हो सकता, पढ़ाई है, घर वालों के काम है, इंजीनियरिंग है, कैसा होता? So these are all, our mentality which is stopping us. Because at Adventure Park, I have got the opportunity to work with 100 plus startups now, where we have worked with 200 plus student entrepreneurs, and those 200 plus students are like us. So, like y'all. So that is not, they also face similar problems like you do. They have exams, they have colleges, they have households to work on to, they have to attend to their family members, but at the same time they are also working on their own idea. Because deep down the line, when they are in their 40s and 50s, the biggest thing that will hurt a person who have not tried is, I should have at least given a try. That will never haunt those who tried working on their idea. You ask anybody who has crossed his 50, and what is his biggest regret if he has not made big. The only thing he will tell you is, I should have done something in my past, or I should have done something when I was young. So we as students, this is the best time for us to start up, because the ample amount of free time that we have during engineering, we will never get that after it. Responsibilities will start to just jump on us, ponder on us, and, like, you will be like, I don't have time for this. I'll have to go earn. I will have to look up for responsibilities. I will have to take up all the household responsibilities on me. Being a student, The best thing about is we have time. No, everybody knows that we only study what, 1 month, half month, 10 days before the exams. We don't even study for the whole lot. That means we have got that much time to do something with our future. We have got that much time to experiment with our lives. And the best part is, even if we fail, we get the experience of doing something, and that is crucial. Companies look for that. Companies look for students who have done something. Companies look for students who are eager to learn something. So that will act as an advantage. So these are all the points indicating us that we should run a startup. Now coming back to our point, that is vision. So how will you define a clear vision? Because everybody has ideas in their mind, but they don't know how to move further, right? So the first and the foremost step for you will be to clarify your vision. Your vision should be crystal clear. Vision cannot be vogue, like, okay, I will target that market, or I will be the best guy in the business. You will have to be the best guy if you want to survive in the business. Vision cannot be that. Vision has to be super specific, super clear, and grand in a few words. So we have the company, right? The Hacking School, India's first and finest coding boot camp. And I like their vision a lot, and I always use this to give examples to students around. Their vision is simple yet precise and clear. It is, we want a coder in every home. You see the beauty behind this line. Their vision is, they want a coder in every home. They are the finest hacking bootcamp. They have summed up the whole bootcamp journey or their company in a line that they want a coder in every home. That is how your vision should be. It should be that crystal clear. It should be simple, yet it should be an achievable target. Vision, like best entertainment platform or best application out there can never be your vision, because you will have to be the best. That is the minimum requirement that is asked of an entrepreneur, or that is asked of a student, or that is asked of someone who is trying to start up. So you will never use the word best or good or better than them. So that is a majburi. You will have to have that. So vision cannot have that. So in which year did Google started? Anybody know? Google, like the one that we use a lot. We have got it in our mobiles. We search for everything. The Google has so many parent projects. So Google started in the year 1997 or 98. Started by Larry Page and Larry Page and Sergey Brin, and Eric Switch was their CEO. Yep, correct. And when Google started, they were a very simple website. Yes, one of the major problems that students do, or that when people are trying to start up make the mistake, is they try to be perfect. They think like, if we are not perfect, the market will never accept us. And that is completely wrong. Sell first, build later is the go-to tagline a person who wants to start up should adhere to. Because once you start selling, you will get the feedbacks that is necessary for you to build the perfect product. You cannot build a perfect product before even launching it, or before even asking the audience what they want. So you can never make it a perfect. If you try to chase perfection, you are too late. And that is the sad part about it. And also, if as an entrepreneur, if you are not curious, it's like you are an illiterate. Curiosity is what feeds us. Curiosity is what feeds an entrepreneur. If you are curious about something, you will be you would want to study about it, you would want to look into it, and you never know, you will find better solutions out of it. You will find your knack, or you will find something that you are good at, and you may be able to explore it and make money out of it. So curiosity is number one thing that we should never ever leave, or that is we should never ever be not curious about anything. Ask questions, look for answers, ask difficult questions, and that is how you will get amazing answers. So let's come back to vision, right? So now Google had started in 97, 98, and they were, just a college project that started out, and they were founded by two founders, right? So how did Google make it big? What was their vision, or how did they make it big? So they actually, the guy, the first person to invest in Google was Ram Shriram. He's an Indian, settled in US. So he invested, I think, 10,000 or $100,000 at that time in Google. And people were like, "Are you stupid? This is just a startup. How can you invest, such a big amount? Instead of that, just invest in a property, buy a land, and you will get returns out of it." So that was the common mentality of people at that time. But not Ramshi Ram. He had the perfect vision. He saw what Google could be and not what Google was at that time. So what Ramshi Ram was doing was he was living in the future. He was not looking at the present, but he was living in the future. And that is what we have to do. If we are trying to come up with solutions for problems, we will have to come up with future solutions and not current solutions. Because if you come up with a solution that is, adequate for the present will just move when you start working on it. In the next couple of days or couple of months or couple of years, your solution will be of the past. Nobody will be ready to accept it. And that is why it is very crucial and very important for you to think in the future. Your solutions should be of the future, like how Ram Shriram did. And that is why today Google is Google. Investment is nothing but it's about mindset. Investment is not a function of money. Like, people usually think investment means, you're investing money or something like that. Or an investor is, he just invests money. That is wrong. Investment is in a function of mindset. See things before they exist. That is the crucial thing about that, we should develop among ourselves. Because if we have the capability to see something which doesn't even exist, that means we have the first movers advantage. Nobody has ever thought of in the market, and you can just jump right directly into it, and you can make millions out of it. And that is the beauty of, developing a mindset, a correct mindset, that is, thinking of in the future. Now, why did Ramshi Ram, specifically invested in Google at that time? It was not about money. They were just a startup. He knew everybody can say, right, I can guess that company will grow, or that company will be $1 billion company or something like that. But what was the data behind it, or what was the, data set that was behind it? It was not money. It was not service. People had just started using the internet. So it was not like there was a craze of internet. The only thing that Ramshi Ram saw, or one of the things that Ramshi Ram saw in them, was information. Google had the capability of collecting data from all over the world, or to portray data from all over the world. And that is what made Ramshi Ram invest in Google. He knew what could happen. He knew that when, if Google had become big, he saw that, there will be computers in every household, seeing the battle of Apple and Microsoft happening at that time. He envisioned that there will be an era of personal PCs, and in an era of personal PCs, there will be a requirement of people searching about stuff. There will be no time to just open a yellow pages and search for a dictionary. Where is the carpenter? Where is the, household things, or what is the number of a restaurant? People will have to go on the internet, and that is what Ram Shriram saw at that time. You cannot, live with the fact that, things what are right now. You will have to have the ability or the skill set. You will have to develop the skill set to think in the future, to think, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line. You will have to develop the foresight of, what things will be and not what things are. If anybody is able to develop that mindset, then I think he will have the movers advantage among all of his peers, because he will be able to predict what will happen in the future, or where the world will be, and he will align himself better so that he gets the most out of it. Now, there's a big problem with all of institutions, or many people. They think that vision is a one-time thing. People usually have a notion, or they're like, okay, if we make a vision, then we will work our whole life towards that vision. That is, according to me, completely wrong. Vision can never be permanent. It is dynamic in nature. What is a vision? How far you can see. If you are sitting across a room, how far you can see across the wall, or you can see, till the wall. And for you to see, beside the wall, you will have to go or walk till that wall, correct? And that is when you will start seeing what is there in the further. And that is how exactly vision should be. Vision can never be permanent, or it can never be static. It has to be dynamic in nature. That means you set a goal for 3 years, or you set your vision for 3 years, and while you are going to your vision of your 3 years, more things will be clear to you, or your company's direction will be more clear to you, and you can now form another vision for the next 5 years. And then when you move from A to B to C to D, E, F, G will be clear to you, and you will move to there. And that is how vision will be. So vision is nothing but a step, or it's just a milestone that you set and that you move across. So you cannot be like, I created this vision, it's done, and now I don't have to make anything out of it, and I will just just stick to it. Like, my mission was to provide every code at home, I will just work on it, and I will not look for others. And that is how companies die, and that is how innovation die. That is how you stop growth, by not changing yourselves. If you are happy with what you are doing right now, if you are like, are chal raha so kaam chalne do, and that is how an institution, that is how a company dies. You will always have to adapt to opportunities presenting to you. You will always have to adapt to circumstances around you. You will always have to adapt to things around. You can never stay at the same point, be it in terms of your studies, be it in terms of your ideas, or be it in terms of your vision. Now, there is always a problem, like, how will you earn, like, if I come up with a problem, and if I'm trying to solve a problem. So what I told was, an entrepreneur is nothing but who is trying to solve a problem. So how will you earn money? Do you know Google took 5 years to come up with a revenue model? So for the first 5 years, Google just figured out, how can they earn by their project. And y'all, if just imagine, Google was like, okay, I don't have a revenue model, I will not do anything, I'll just stop my services, or I'll not continue. Just imagine, would Google have been what it is today? No, it would not have. Google would not have been the giant everybody is trying to be like. Google has not become that milestone, or that level that everybody tries to reach there, or that is their perfect dream of becoming a company. Google took 5 years to come up with their revenue model, and their revenue model is actually the CPC model, that is the cost per click model. So the clicking will earn, they will generate them money. So that is how Google came up with their revenue model. So it's perfectly fine for you to not make revenue when you start. It's perfectly fine. What matters is your consistency to just continue it without stopping. There is also a big problem, when people start their companies, or people start working on some idea. Usually the founders focus on how they are building it and how they want it to be. And that is actually the biggest mistake a founder can make. You can never fall in love with your solution. A founder only has the right to fall in love with the problem, and that is how the founder can come up with the perfect solution. For example, if you're trying to solve the problem of water scarcity, and you feel like, according to you, the best solution will be to provide waters through helicopters, and you're just sticking to it. You don't want to change your vision. You don't want it to make sure that, no, I am correct, I want to do this, I will do that. Do you think you will survive in the market? No, you never will. Because you will never try different options out there, you will never listen to the feedback that you get from the customers, and you will only stick to your solution because you have fallen in love with your solution. You'll be like, I'll make a perfect helicopter, it will be in this color, it will be of this shape, it will hold this much water, we will dispose water directly on top of the terraces and stuff like that. No matter how grand of a solution it is, you don't have the right to fall in love with your solution, because you never know how the market will accept it. Now, in this case, if you fall in love with your problem, that is, you are hell bent on making sure that you want to solve the problem of water scarcity. Now, what will you do? You will, instead of coming up with just one grand solution, you will start to look for solutions that actually matter. You will start to look for feedback that actually matters. You will start to look around, you will ask people, you will launch something, you will see the response in the market. Is it helping the cause? Is it really helping me solve the problem? Is it really helping the people? Is it really helping solving the scarcity of the water problem? If it not, you will just divert yourself, or you will shift yourself, or you will pivot yourself from that solution to another one, but your problem statement will be the same. And that is how you will come up with an excellent solution. So the most crucial part is, you should never fall in love with your solution. No matter how great your idea you think should be, the most important aspect is it really helping me solve the problem, and is the market really ready to accept it? Because at the end of the day, the solution will be used by the people in the market and not by us. The founders will not use the solution, or it is not our preference, it's the preference of the market. That is why many companies die in the process, because they fail to change themselves. They become rigid. They are like, we will only follow this track. If it happens, well and good. If it does not happen, we will just quit. And that is what we should not do while coming up with our ideas, or while coming up with solutions. And this does not only apply to startups. This can be applied to any other field out there. Be it to any other solution. You're trying to help someone, you're trying to teach somebody something, you're trying to work something out, you're trying to solve some problem in your house, and if you like, nahi meko ye pasand, मैं ये करता हूँ, that will be an issue. You will have to be open to change. Yeah. Also, now people think like, okay, you have come up with an excellent solution. So now the main challenges in front of you will be, will the market really accept it? Will the market accept my solution? Or how will people invest, or will the investor invest in my idea? So the most crucial part about startups is, people invest in people. People don't invest in ideas or companies or money, because solutions can change. You will have to pivot almost every time when your idea fails. The investor will see if the founder has that capability to pivot the idea, if the founder has that capability to actually make it big. And that is how and that is how investments work, and that is how you will be successful in life. If we are not able to convince somebody that this is who I am, this is who, what I am doing, this is who I can be, or this is what I am doing, then you are actually doing a very bad job at whatever problem you're trying to solve. Convincing people, it should be pretty easy for you. Your work should reflect what you are trying to do. If people are not able to get you, or people are like, when kuch bhi kalera and he is not right, and you are not looking for feedbacks, then that is a perfect sign that you are doing something wrong. Now, let's talk about ideas for a while now. Like, what is the difference between a blue collared or a white collared labor? You all have I'm sure you all must have heard the term, right? A blue collared labor is basically who doesn't use his brain in whatever work he is doing. A white collar job can be a guy who is using his brain for doing a task. Let's take an example. A laborer, a carpenter who's trying to fix something. He's just, what is he doing at this point? He's or a, what do you say, a worker, a construction worker. He is told to put bricks in a particular direction, and he's just doing that. He's doing it mindlessly. He doesn't have to be perfect about it, or he doesn't have to utilize his brain. Compared to a white collar job, an architect, or he's coming up with a design, an engineer, or maybe an officer, a manager who is trying to come up with solutions. Now, what's the difference between them, and what really do you want to be? I know I don't want to be a blue collar job guy. I know I don't want to be a person who is just working mindlessly. I am sure I don't want to be the person, who can be replaced by a robot in the future. I want to be a guy who executes from brain. I want to be someone who uses their brain instead of their physical body. And that is what every engineer should do. And that is what each and every one of us should do. Because humans have the capability to think. Humans have developed that sense to solve problems. The most important thing about it is to we just have to use our brains for it. We just have to come up with solutions. After 4 years, people usually go for telecalling or services like that, where you just mindlessly repeat stuff one after the other. But what about all the other technical jobs out there, or what about all the other problems, that you can solve, or that you can possibly solve? And that is how you will actually make big in life. Everybody has dreams, everybody has aspirations, but most of us fail to set up our goals, or most of us fail to set up our commands because we refrain ourselves from using our brain. We would just want, what others are doing, we'll just continue it. We don't want to be uncomfortable. For you to actually make big, for you to actually do something, you will have to jump out of your comfort zone. You will have to explore the world. You will have to explore what's happening around, or what is actually needed in the market, or what is it that people want, or what is it that the market wants. Now, the most important, like, you how do you come up with the right solution with the best possible answer? Many people have that genuine question, like, what can be the right solution? How can I know? I'm just a student, or I don't know anything. I don't have any idea about stuff, or how is it happens, or how does it executes. So what is the way for you to come up with the right solution, or the best possible answer to it? And to answer that, you just have to take genuine interest in the problem itself. You just have to be genuine about the problem that you are trying to solve. And that is how you will be able to solve the problem. Let's take an example of my company, right? So Kamal sir said, Indra, I'm the CEO of Guardian. So we at Guardian have actually come up with a jacket for girls which have taser points on it. So if any guy tries to assault her or sexually touch her, he will get 2000 volts of zap at his hand if he tries to touch a girl on the jacket. So that is what we came up with. Our genuine interest was to solve the problem of rape that is increasing in our country. So we took genuine interest in that, and we actually had to do many iterations with our solution. At first, we thought to come up with a big leather jacket, and we will have points spread all over it. And you're like, this is the best solution because leather will make sure that current is not passing. Leather will make sure that it is stylish. The points will be safe. The girl will be safe. But when we actually started building our product, that was not the case. The feedback that we received from girls were like, this is too bulky, this won't work, the points are too near, the points are too far, there's a good chance we will touch ourselves, we'll touch the points among ourselves, this won't work, the wire is too thick. We did not stop there saying that no, this is the perfect solution, if we try to do something else there will be problems. What we did, we started iterating about it. So we were passionate about the solution, we were passionate about the problem, we were not fixated at our solution. And then we had to iterate what around 6 to 8 jackets, different designs, and 12 tech iterations. And then that is how it took us around 8 months to just come up with our final prototype. So the only thing that you have to focus on is to take genuine interest in the problem itself. Believe me, if you are not genuine, make no mistake, you will be dead. Market will thrash you, because market is not your house ka thing that it will accept you if you're not genuine enough about your solution. Even if you are genuine, there's a good chance that you might fail just because of how volatile the market is present around, or how volatile the market is currently. So you will have to be very genuine, or you will have to be really genuine about about your interest in your idea, about your interest in trying to solve a problem. Now, You have to be genuinely interested in solving the problem, whatever problem you have picked up to solve. And that is how you will define and build a great vision. Now, one of the major problems that students or one of the major problems that newbies who are trying to start up, who are trying to run their own companies do is you will have to back up your solutions with data and not emotions. So there's a big problem with young people. So they are actually very emotional, not in just terms of sad terms, but their emotions are volatile. They're like, नहीं, मैं ये करा, मैं ये करता हूँ, मैं ये सोचा, मैं ये करता हूँ वाला mentality will actually do more harm than it will do the good to you. Motivation or passion is okay, it's good, it is what will feed your will to work, but you cannot just give your solution without any data, or you cannot just come up with solutions without having any data behind it, or without having any perfect data. So let's again let's talking about guardian. So at first we built and we were like nahi yahi karenge kya nahi karenge, we were not fixated on our emotions like nahi bhai hum banaye thi mehnat se pehla, अब तुम्हारे को क्या मालूम, हम बनाए हमारे को मालूम कितनी मेहनत लगती. No, what we saw was we collected data of the wearers, of the users, of the girls that who will be the end product or who will be the end user of our product. And we saw if they really wanted any change in that. We saw what is the data that we collected, if it's harming them or the wire is too uncomfortable, the points are too close, like I mentioned earlier. So you will always have to back your solutions with data and not emotions. We usually have a problem of just feeding up our emotions. Are asakasa, we'll do that, we'll do this. That is good only when it is backed up by data. Now, many a times there will be difference of opinions, or there will be many ways to counter a problem. So how will you come up with a solution? Like how will you fix on one? So the main thing, or the main method or the main way how you can do it is you have to believe at your gut instinct. जो आपका दिल बोल रहा है, you will have to go forth with that, because in the end it's you who is running the company. In the end it's you who is going to solve the problem, it's you who is trying or who is attempting to solve that problem. So always stick to your gut. That's how we are coming up with ideas. That is how we are deciding what we want to work with, what what is our genuine, by taking genuine interest in what we are trying to solve. Now, there is a good issue with people, like they are like nahi main ye karta hu, wo karta hu, and that is what I mentioned you all again, that you have to make sure that you are not sticking to the part of where I will only do this because I made it. I आप कौन होते बोलने वाले, आप क्या है, आप ऐसी छे, आपको समझने नहीं आता. This is something that we all should refrain ourselves from. Now, EQ, like IQ, intelligent quotient, we have the emotional quotient. So it is actually the most important quality what the industry looks for. Now, what is emotional a quotient, or what is it that the industry is looking for in a product manager, or a program manager, or somebody who is trying to solve a problem? If you are not understanding what the user wants, you are basically dead. A company will never want, a company or a startup will fail if the founders are not able to understand, if the founders are not able to feel what the user want. If you are sticking with your solution, if you are sticking with your mindset, and you are not open to change, you are not open to pivot your idea, then that means your emotional quotient or your EQ is zero, it's dead. That will be your end. Mark my words, that will be your end. So you will have to be open minded, and you will have to make sure that people, or that the users feedback matters the most. Now 99% of the feedback which really helps is that feedback which nobody gives. Because like for example, you build an app, you will go to your friends, भाई मैं कैसा बनाया बोलो. Everybody will like, अरे क्या जबरदस्त बनाया, or if friends are joking, अरे क्या फालतू बनाया, but you will never get the correct feedback. if you go to your parents and you know मैं ये बनाया, like, अरे मेरा बच्चा कितना प्यारा बनाया, कितना अच्छा बनाया. If you go to your other family members, they'll be like, अरे हाँ बहुत अच्छा बनाया, बहुत अच्छा बनाया. And you, what will you think? Okay, yeah, if 30-40 people are praising my idea, then that means it's good. But do you really think the feedback that you got is correct? No, it's not. They are just trying to keep your heart, and they'll just say हाँ भाई बहुत अच्छा है. So the feedback that matters is the implicit feedback. Implicit means the feedback which people don't show, but they feel, or so you will have to feel what the students, or whatever your user is doing. So you will have to be very crucial while taking feedbacks. So the only feedback which matters is the implicit feedbacks that the user doesn't give, and they just experience. So you will have to note down the experience as to what they are making. If as an entrepreneur you are not learning to pick up implicit feedback, that makes you illiterate. Everybody will start someplace, but you will have to make sure that you are able to read the implicit feedback that you are getting from the user. Because if you don't, then that means your company will die. You don't know where to head into the right direction. People will stop buying your product. People will stop using your applications. People will just stop with you all around. And that is how you will die. No matter how brilliant solution you come up with, if the market is not accepting it, that means you are dead. uh, so one of the major, or one of the most smarter ways to start a company, or to to learn how to build a company, is to see how, or is to study how other founders did. The best way for you to be successful, the best chances of your success increases when you actually study how or what other founders did, or how did they do. One such interesting case that I always like to share is of WhatsApp. So almost, not almost, more than half of the world population uses WhatsApp. Isn't that amazing? More than 3 billion people uses WhatsApp. Just imagine the impact that two or three founders have created while building an application. They have built something which is almost used by half the freaking world, and that is the impact that you can come up with by just solving a problem. The story of WhatsApp is actually rather interesting. So these were actually two Russian guys. So they were based not in Russia but in US, if not wrong. And so they actually they live in a small community. So it usually happens when you move to another country. You usually like to stay with people from your background. So whenever they used to go to gym, or whenever they used to go to normal work, their wives used to ping them like, Arey, where are you, where are you, what, where are you right now, what are you doing, when will you be back, and stuff like that. So it irritated the founders a lot. So what they did, they came up with a status wala thing, like in the contacts, whenever, if you if they reached the gym, so the mobile app, if they just sent it, so it was automatically updating that I am at the gym, or I'm at the office, or do not disturb. So updates were sent to all their contacts in the mobile. And actually that interested people surrounding those founders. So people in the community asked them, "Arey, what is this looks very good, this looks very interesting, give us the same software as well, make one for us as well, and we will also start using." And that is how from two guys, so it was sent, let's take an example, to 50 people. Those 50 people started using it, and then each guy spread it to 50 people. So that is how the chain of WhatsApp grew, and that is how they actually came up with the whole concept of WhatsApp. That is, messaging, fast messaging, or without the use of SIM carrier. Isn't that amazing? So actually, there is a law, called for what happened with WhatsApp. So the law is actually called Metcalfe's law. So it is a law of networks, like how the network works, or how it happens. So it started out with the founders of WhatsApp. It spread to their contacts. Their contacts started using it. It spread to their contacts, and that is how the chain built big, and that is how WhatsApp is what it is today. Actually, before coming up with this, so this was what WhatsApp never intended to become a company. WhatsApp never intended to enter into the chatting system and disrupt the whole market. What the founders wanted to do was just to solve a problem of their wives, stop messaging them, or stop pinging them. Arey, where are you, where are you? And you see the power of solving a small problem. You never know the impact that your small solution can make to the world out there. And that is the beauty of entrepreneurship. So, like I was saying earlier, if you really want to build a company, you will have to look at people who have already been successful. Will have to look how did they build their companies. You will have to look what was their points, what went wrong for them, what went right for them, how did they execute, and that is the best and the easy way for you to best chances for you to be successful while launching your company. uh, I think one exercise we all should do is everybody has a number of apps in our mobile phones, right? But we don't have any idea who built it, or who are the founders. I mean, me being a founder, I would love for people to know who built Guardian. So I would suggest the people in the audience, after the meet, just go or check out the founder of your favorite app, like who really made it, or what are their background story about it. And that is how curiosity will start to peak in you, and that is how maybe you will come up with your multi-million dollar idea, and you will help millions and billions of people out there by solving a problem, and the byproduct will be making money out of it. The moment you start knowing who did it and why they did it, you will understand about their motivation of why they did, and that is important. And you will start learning about their journeys, and the moment you start doing that, you go deep, and before you even realize, you will start loving the art of problem solving. And this is how this is what will help you develop your vision for your ideas, or this is how you will develop your brain into thinking about ideas. Because it's a chain. The moment you start looking for the companies or their founders, you will just curiosity will peak, like I said earlier. You will look for ideas, like how did they do and why did they do it, their motivation behind it. And once you start going deep down, you'll start loving problem solving. And once you fell in love with that, there's no coming back. You will just try. You will always look around to solve problems, and you will do that at a bigger pace. uh, so many people think motivation is necessary. I will have to watch some videos or some motivational content to be motivated, and so that now I can work on my idea or something like that. Let me tell you something. If you require somebody else to motivate you for something, then that means that you are not fit for it. Then that means you don't deserve that idea. Then that means you don't deserve the success. Because the biggest motivator that you can have is your progress. The biggest motivation that will come is from inside you. The will to do something, the spark, the zap to do something, is the most important part, or is the most important aspect, or is the most important factor of motivation. So watching motivational videos won't help you do anything, or watching them or doing something about that won't help you. So the biggest motivation that should come, it should be within. So once you start working on your idea, actually, so you will get that burst of motivation when you start progressing with your idea, or when you actually start solving a problem. So the moment you start to see how you are executing it, or how you are trying to do it, you will be motivated enough to to solve more. Will be motivated enough to do more. And that is how your chain of cycle of doing something will increase. Now, let's come back to our vision, right? So now, how can we, how can you frame your vision, or what should be your vision? Let's take an example of Google. Does anybody here know the vision of Google, or what was their vision, or you can guess maybe what could have been their vision? Mhm. You can write it in the chat box if you want. To become answer to every question, yeah, that could be, because Google wanted to provide solutions, or Google wanted to basically be a a search engine for everybody out there, to provide access to world's information in one click. Actually, that is accurate, Faiz, what you mentioned. I hope you did not Google it to find the Google's vision. So yeah, that is what the vision of Google was: to provide access to the world's information in one click. Now, just see the beauty of Google. Just see the beauty of their vision. They want to provide the complete information of the world, be it anything, and it has achieved its vision in just one click. And that is how your vision should be. WhatsApp vision is being able to facilitate an uninterrupted and boundaryless communication channel for people from every corner of the world. So that is the vision of WhatsApp. Now, where exactly should your vision start? Like, what should be a starting point? Where should you start it from? So, you started with one thing that you want to accomplish. So there may be n number of solutions that you are trying to solve, or there are n number of solutions to solve just single problem. But for you to start with your vision, or for you to start with your vision, you will have to just start with one thing that you want to accomplish. Your experience that your app is going to deliver is a subset of the primary theory. Yeah, that is important. So you will have to see if you are trying to be if you are trying to really solve a problem, or how you are trying to do. Now, once you form up your vision, right, let's take an example of Google only. So the vision of the Google was to provide access to the world's information in one click. Now, how do you actually work on it? So the best way to work on your idea, or the best way to work on something, is to actually reverse engineer your vision. So what do you mean by reverse engineering? Is you start from the end, and then you break down the process as to where you will reach there, and then you will make your milestones, and then you will achieve it. Focus on that one thing that you want to do, just one thing, and make it like for your user to exclusive. Like it should be in steps, like what you want to achieve. Like you want to come up with an app idea where you are providing uh, books delivered at your home. So your vision is to provide book to each and every household, or to provide book to every learner out there. This can be your grand vision. Now, how will you reverse engineer it? How can how can you work on it? What will you do? You will then start. Okay, my target is to provide book to each and every learner. So for me to do that, first I will need to have a platform. After a platform, I will need to have all the learners on my platform. After learners are there, what will they do? Then they will have to go and purchase books. So I will have to add books to my platform. Now books are there, learners are there, I have a platform, but how will they buy? How will it be delivered? So now you will have to come up with a delivery scheme, or a delivery mechanism, or a delivery method to deliver it. And so that is how you reverse engineer your problems, or that is how you reverse engineer our vision, and that is how you will be able to achieve. The most important factor is you will have to deliver the wow moment in your vision. like how Google did to provide access to the world's information in one click. So that is how your vision should be. It should provide with the wow wala factor in your vision. People should be awestruck by just listening to it. you know Hell, even your friend should think, अरे पागल हो गया ही नहीं, impossible बात ना कर रहा क्या, कैसा कर सकता बोल के. So it has to be grand. It has to be so grand that the normal people around or the normies don't even understand it, like how is that possible. And the best way to accomplish that is by, just by reverse engineering your grand vision, and you will be able to do. Your vision should also reflect on what your company is primarily delivering. You cannot your vision cannot be vague. It cannot just be something else and your company is working on something else. It has to focus, or it has to align with what you are trying to do, with what you want to achieve. Visions, there's a good thing with visions, that they can be your tagline as well. So our vision for Guardian is empowering women through security, and that is also our tagline. So we aim to actually empower women, and how are we doing it? Through security in the form of our Guardian jacket. Vision statement is nothing, but it is a statement to convey our end user, our market, as what we are doing, or what we want to do. That is what our vision should be. Now, usually during coming up with vision, you form a vision, but you see in the market that there are other people who are capturing your space, or there are other people who have the potential to maybe cut you off. So what is the best way? Like, let's take an example of Facebook and WhatsApp. There was Facebook, previously to WhatsApp or Instagram, and people used to use Facebook everywhere or every time, or almost everybody used to use Facebook. But the moment Instagram came, people diverted from Facebook to Instagram. Now, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, actually had that foresight that I mentioned earlier. The ability to see the future, the ability to see forward, like what can happen. And that is why he acquired WhatsApp. That is why he I think also acquired Instagram. Why? Because he knew that if he was stubborn enough that अरे लोग अलग है, हम लोग अच्छे हैं, हमारे तो पूरे यूजर्स है, लोग उन लोग को एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे, then what would have happened? He would have just lost the race. People, Instagram and WhatsApp would have completely annihilated what Facebook in the process. And that is what Mark Zuckerberg did. Keep your eyes and ears open. Keep your finger on the pulse of the ecosystem to see what is working and what is not. Be obsessed with the problem. Always look around solutions that people are doing, or always try to find people who are working on similar problems, or who are working on similar solutions, or who actually want to do something, or who actually want to bring change to the system, or bring change to stuff happening around. Now, the best example of actually diverting from your vision, or not thinking clear, or not thinking straight, or being arrogant, is the example of Apple. So when Steve was removed from Apple, he formed the company called Next, where he tried to target the market segment of what do you say, commercial computers or big servers, which will have UI, or application or operating system of the personal computers. He thought he could work in that market, and he was arrogant to prove IBM, to prove Apple wrong, or that no, I am the greater one. And in that race he tried to pursue Next, but he actually failed miserably with Next. And then the story of Apple is different, and then later on he was hired back into Apple, and then Apple acquired whatever was left of Next. So it was just a ego feeling thing. So that is how even a big visionary people can fail if they don't try to shift, or if they don't if they are not open to change, if they are not willing to take feedback, if they are not able to accept what's happening in the market, or if they're not able to change themselves. That will be the end of it, and that is the proof that we have with Next. So they tried to beat Apple, they tried to beat IBM, but they failed miserably. And today we don't even, many of all don't even know what next is. That was actually the same thing, Steve Jobs did with Apple. He wanted to do it with Next as well. So that is why it is very crucial for us to be flexible, to be, to be open to change or be open to stuff happening around. So yeah, I think that is it for today's first half of the sessions that we have. And vision should be grand. Vision cannot have the best, or I'm the best service provider. No, that can never be your vision. Vision has to be clear. It should reflect what we are trying to do or what we are doing, and it should be grand. And your vision can be your tagline. So I think that will sum up most of the talk that happened around. The most important thing is you will always have to be curious as to what you are doing or what you want to do and stuff like that. I think we'll open the floor for questions now. So we have 5 minutes before the next speaker, starts with his wonderful part, which I'm looking forward to hearing too, to Mr. Abdul Rahman. So yeah, let's open the floor for questions. So if you have any questions, please type it in the chat box, or if you're comfortable enough, you can just unmute yourselves and ask me. Please don't tell me that I was such it was such a great talk that you don't have any doubts or queries or something like that. So please feel free to ask questions, ask whatever if there are some in your mind.
Yes, audience can ask freely, no issues were there. Okay, you can ask your doubts and other things with Usaid.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. No doubts, or people are not comfortable enough asking here. No worries. I'll just drop in my Insta handle. Y'all can ping me anytime you want. Anything related to startup, anything related to your vision. If you are trying to come up with a solution, if you want to maybe run your own company, or if you want to do something, you can just ping me on Instagram, and I will be there. I'll try my best. I will try my level best to help you, and I will be there for you in anything. So thank you guys once again, and thank you Shaman College of Engineering and Technology for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of such an excellent audience. And I hope you all understood the message that I was trying to convey, and everybody comes up with their version of solutions. Yeah. Over to you, Jyoti sir, if you are there still on the call.
Yeah, Usaid, thank you very much, Usaid. It's very good session, and I'm very happy to say that to all of you that Usaid is my student, and I'm very happy that he's my student, and he's a co-founder and CEO of Guardian also. And it's very good things what he told about startup vision and mission. So everybody can do that. Okay, so I'm very thankful to Usaid behalf of Shadran Group and IIC committee. Okay, we prepared that SEET IIC committee here, and I'm very thankful to Chief Patron Shalam Rasul Khan Sahab and our patron dearest Dr. Atiqur Rahman Sahab Principal and co-patron Director Muneem Sahab and Director B. Srinivas Sir. I'm very thankful to say warm welcome to Muhammad Abdul Rahman Sir to continue the session. And I'm telling something about Muhammad Rahman Akbar Saab that he is also co-founder and CFO and CMO of iVoter. So I'm warm welcome to him to connect the and to continue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the very warm welcome. I hope I'm, uh, I hope I'm audible to you guys. Am I?
Yes,
Yes,
you
yes,
are
audible.
audible.
That's great. So thank you, Said. Thank you, Said, for the lovely session. I was there whole time. Even I lacked a few things in my vision and mission with my company, and your talk did help me by a lot to also frame my company's vision. So, hello everyone. I am Abdul Rahman Akbar. I am the co-founder, CFO, and CMO of iWater. I've been a founder for 3 times. Also a member of Global Shapers Hyderabad. Also an executive team member at Adventure Park. I have worked closely with around 100 plus startups to, help in any way that is possible. continuing the talk with how Asaid started, how Asaid took the flow, that vision and mission. I got pumped up after listening to what Asaid says, that I have to have a startup with a great vision and mission. But then it is also important for you to validate your idea. Now, what is validation? What is the meaning of validation? What does validation stand in the startup culture? What happens when you're in a startup, when you're starting a startup? Okay, how can validation help? So in brief meaning, if you just Google validation, you'll get the act of accepting something, the act of validating something. That is what is validation is. That is a vague concept. But then, you know when you get an idea, when you properly get an idea, when you innovate, when you try to solve a problem, bring up a solution that is there, that is when you love your idea. You think, "Okay, that is the best thing in the world, and if this comes out in the market, this can be a whole breakthrough." But then, is that true? Is that true with everyone else in this world? Everyone else you want to make your customer? Is that how? Is that the only thing that will happen? Now, as Asit took the example of Steve Jobs, the next company, where did they go wrong? What did they do wrong? They didn't validate properly. Validation is a very important aspect. As I said came, whenever you go to your parents or friends, they are more likely to support you or not support you. There are only two ends to that. बहुत अच्छा कर रहे बेटे आप, बहुत खराब कर रहे बेटे आप. That is the only thing you'll get two answers from. That comes from a emotional side of you of the parents. They don't really see the solution that you're building, the solution that you have, the solution that you want to, propose, the problem you want to solve. You are in love with your idea, but do they know it? Do they accept that fact? They don't, because they have an emotional question towards you. And that is why validation is to be done with people who actually face the problem and who are not your friends or family. Validation is that concept. Validation is where you just pitch your idea to random people and ask you what can be the solution to this. Very good. This thing, Flipkart, the whole startup culture which is surrounding in India, it took around 11 years for about 28 unicorns to be born, since 2008 to 2020 something. And then 2021 itself, there were 28 unicorns in just 1 year. Startup culture is now at the boom, and it's high time that we start as innovators as well. As we come from student backgrounds, and we have an ample amount of time that we can dedicate towards the passion and a goal that we want to build, right? And that is important, because you know we as students need India to be the very the best country in the world, and for that we have to be job creators, like rather than job seekers. To be problem solvers, to be innovators. That is what is important, and that has been reflecting in the startup culture in India itself. So in 2021 there were 28 unicorns that were born. Most recently I heard about MobiQuick being a unicorn. In fact, there was this very beautiful story of a Nasdaq company which they got listed. They were just a company. The CEO of it was just a 9 to 5 going job. What did he notice? He just noticed that there is no proper CRM management, and that he has to create something for that. And now look, they are listed not in India's BSE, not in India's stock exchange, but in US stock exchange. They've given back to all of their employees. Around 70% of their employees in India have been under 30, and they've become crore-patis. So that is what is the power of creating wealth. That is what is the power of giving back to the community, and that is directly helping India's GDP, right? That is directly helping India become a superpower. That is directly helping. And with the power of youth, India is around 60% youth, and if we direct our the if we direct our say the thoughts, rather than on stupid things, but to innovating, but to problem solving, we can be the next superpower of the world, and I'm sure to say that, and India is becoming that. So coming back to my point, okay, India's startup culture was originally by the Bansals, the Sachin Bansal and Vinny Bansal. They are the founders of Flipkart. You guys must know. So they started their company around 2008. They were actually employees of a very Amazon, I guess. Yes, they were actually employees of Amazon. So they were seeing they used to work in the US, and they saw, okay, how Amazon is picking up things, how they are how everyone is getting adapted to the culture over there, how everyone is actually ordering things online and getting it delivered to their home rather than going to a shop, rather than going to a mall and just spending time over there. They saw, okay, Amazon is eliminating that whole experience, that whole burden of standing in lines, all of that billing and stuff. They saw that, but then they planned it to come in India. Now what happened is, um, it's honestly, when you think about it, go back like you're in 2008. There's no Amazon, there's no Flipkart in India. Think of it, okay? You have to pay for something and you don't have to guarantee that it will come to you or not. You don't know what will happen. Your money will be gone. You just have to swipe on your screen and look ke kab tak aa raha wo product. That will not make sense to you back when you're back when you're in 2008. Now it will make sense because we have been having experience of ordering things online, of making things available online. Even many of us must have sold something online. So that wasn't the case in 2008. When Flipkart was launched in India, the primary problem of every customer while they were validating was people weren't willing to pay before they get the product. So how did they innovate it? How did they come up with a solution? And that is when cash on delivery was born. Cash on delivery was a concept brought by Flipkart into the market. So what happens is, in cash on delivery, you see the product and then you pay the price, whatever the price is, and that is how Flipkart, validated its whole business idea. If they would have been stuck in, nahi, we will only be like Amazon. We will not introduce a new innovative concept of cash on delivery and not do that. They wouldn't have gone this far. They wouldn't have been acquired by Walmart for $1 billion and stuff, because they innovated, because they saw the problem of us Indians not being trustworthy towards people online. That is why they came up with the solution of cash on delivery. And today today Flipkart is a big company and that is acquired by Walmart. But then comparatively, if you see to Amazon and Flipkart, Amazon is now being used more than Flipkart, and now that is a whole different concept. You know what Flipkart did? Flipkart did all the hard work of validating things, did all the hard work of making Indian customers customized to to cash on delivery, to ordering things online and all of that. Now what Amazon did, he just waited till Flipkart validated the whole thing, till Flipkart got the whole Indian market ready, and then launched itself. He just waited over there, and that is how these big giants work eventually. Now coming back to the point of validation. So whenever you get an idea, the first step that you have to do is validate them. It's so I've been a founder of Apparent as well. Was the rent on clothing platform. So what happens is, whenever you go to a wedding or there is a function at your home, you go buy a sherwani or a suit that costs you around 10 to 15,000 rupees. But then you wear that rarely over a period of time, say maybe 2 to 3 times in a year, and that doesn't value the money you have, right? And that is why I came up with the solution of renting these types of clothes for a particular period of time. So at the 1/10 price of an MRP of say 10,000 to 15,000, you get 1,000 to 1,500. You get that dress on rent for about 3 to 6 days. And that was what my solution was. Now what I saw in this was, people can save a lot of their money, people can have a variable wardrobe, they might not need to repeat the same clothing. This was a more women inclined market, because women are conscious about what they wear and what they want to flaunt off, and that is why I came up with this solution. What I did the wrong was validation. Now I didn't. So this was around peak time of COVID, when the first wave was going to end, and I was there. So people got very pretty conscious about their hygiene. People got pretty conscious about what they might want to wear, what they might not want to wear. People wouldn't want to rent out clothes because they had this fear of people outlets not dry cleaning the particular piece of clothing being rented. So I did a lot of assurances. I gave my customers a lot of assurances that dry cleaning can be done. But then in the longer run, it couldn't happen. It couldn't happen because I didn't validate the idea. I was so in love with my idea that I didn't validate, and whatever people said to me, uh, whoever I validated with, and whoever gave me negative points, I just alrightly ignored them, and that is where I went wrong, and that is why I had to close my first startup that was apparent. So, whenever you have to validate an idea, the best form of validation can be Google Forms or type forms. You must be in a lot of community groups, or a lot of your neighbors can be there, a lot of your friends of friends can be there, right? So what you have to do is you never have to validate an idea, whatever idea you get with the first degree connection of yours. That is not what you have to do, because the first degree connections have an emotional attachment towards you, and they might not give the best validation that you need. And that is why validation should be done with the second and third degree connection of yours. So what you can do is, so Mr. Rosel and I had an idea of to start something together as well. We still are in the process of it. So what we wanted to do is, there are so many locks which are being broken, and they are being broken by thieves, burglars invading into houses. So what we wanted to do is, we wanted to make a lock which is also affordable and also has biometric into it. So whenever you are using your fingerprint, and that is how lock will unlock itself. And we there are already in the there are already many players in the market doing this, like Godrej and stuff. They make ready-made doors for that. But then our idea was to make it affordable in a sense. So how did we validate that? What we did is, we reached out to the communities where we didn't know anyone. We reached out to people where we didn't know anyone. We just put three basic questions about the idea. Okay, do you are locks being broken in your house, or has it been broken any time later or sooner? Do you think a biometric can help you make sure that your product is protected much more safer than a traditional lock? And would you support the startup if they was to be launched? Let me say, I got a very mixed feedback. If I would have done that in my first degree connections, everyone would have said, "Okay, that is a great idea. You must do it. You must do it." But then, because I went out and we went out and ventured into second and third degree connections, we found very mixed feedback. People were hesitant towards giving their fingerprint. People were telling, "Okay, even tech can be hacked. It's easier to hack tech than to break a lock." And that is what people had in their minds. And it is their perspective. We can't say that their perspective is wrong, obviously. So what we did is, we picked up those points. So whenever the art of taking feedback comes in over here, so whenever there's a negative feedback, or say a feedback which is not which is not suitable or favorable in your conditions, you'll have to pick only the points that will help you. You don't have to demotivate yourself. You don't have to go back a step. You just have to pick those points up which can help you make your product build into something more amazing. And that is what we realized, and we thought to bring the best tech into the lock itself, so that it can't be hacked. And that is how we validate it. So if someone is being annoying, they lack vision. So if someone is giving you an annoying feedback, a negative feedback, they don't see the vision that you see, right? You're the founder. You know what you want your company to be. You know what you want to do. You know what you want to solve, and that is why you cannot expect the same feedback from everyone around you, or people, whoever is listening to your idea. And that is all right. That is all okay, because they lack the vision that you see. But as a founder, you also have to convince them in shortcomings as well. Whenever you launch, you'll have to make them regret, okay, they didn't give proper validation to your idea. And that is why validation is important. The more feedback you take, the more points you note, and the more better your product is. It's never the other way around. Okay, people are just giving you a negative feedback, and people are just pushing you away. that is the whole beauty in it. Okay, people, how much ever feedback that you get, the better your product gets, the better your idea gets, the better your product gets. So vision is, sorry, validation is not a one-time thing. So even in my company, iWater, we've been validating all over these. We had launched on April 4th. It's already October now. It's been more than 6 months since we've launched, and we've sold about 20,000 units already. So we didn't stop validating every day. When we used to go to pitch customers, we got a lot of points that were to be changed. A lot of, so our product is a premium product. People were very hesitant towards moving to a premium product, and that is there. So we picked up those validation points, and we have other products coming in soon that will benefit the customer that has problems with our first product. And that is how we validate it. That is how, validation is always progressive and continuous in nature. Even companies like Facebook and Instagram validate a lot of their ideas right now, and that is why they are big giants. Let's say, we might have seen Instagram. So any of us who have multiple accounts on Instagram, see, in one account there is a new feature that is there, but then in the other account that feature isn't showing out. That can happen, right? And that happens because Instagram takes a few a percentage of its users to validate its new feature update. It just takes 10% of its of its users to validate its feature updates. Even companies like Instagram and Facebook validate their idea. And this should explain, okay, how important validation is at every step of your company. The better the validation, the most likely you'll boom in the market. That is how validation comes in. So there is this concept that I learned from our incubator, and also picked up things. Okay, you should always sell first and then build later. So what is selling first and building later? So you say, okay, you have an idea. Okay, you see that there's little room around the bus stop, and there is no food eatery around there, and you think you can open a pani puri stall over there. But then do you think you'll put all of that investment in around a lakh rupees to get the bandi, to get a cook who does that, to all of that before validating? That will be a very wrong approach towards starting working towards your idea. And that is why you'll validate first. You'll see, okay, are people actually hungry over here? You'll go and talk to people, okay, and ask, okay, do you think they are, very a very friendly like conversation, okay, do you think there should be a pani puri ki bandi over here so that we can, you know diminish our hunger pangs? That can be there. So in this way, what happens is you get implicit feedback, as how Mr. Usaid said, the art of taking feedback and also the implicit feedback. So whenever you are taking validation from people you are talking to, from your first degree or second degree connections or third degree connections, what you have to see is their implicit feedback. So there's this rule in USA. What happens is, whenever you are in the Silicon Valley or in Ivy League colleges, there are many students who are doing startups already and who are wanting to do startups. What they do is they buy a bag of chocolates. They have an idea in their mind. They just come up to you and ask, "Hey, are you willing to answer three questions for one chocolate?" So they ask these three questions in a way where they are trying to solve a problem. So they so if they say, for example, if they had an app for solving something, they show you the app, they ask you to use it for a while and tell your feedback. Now what they do is they don't take your feedback, they take the implicit feedback that has. While you're using your app, they look at your eyebrows, they look at your expressions, they look at how you're changing your tone, and that is what is implicit feedback. All of these things matter. Your feedback might be biased, but then the implicit feedback that you're giving out is not biased. That is the actual feedback that people are looking for. And then they give you a chocolate and you go away and you're happy having your chocolate. In that very conversation, the founder of the company validated his whole app idea then and there, right? It's with just a piece of chocolate. So you see, okay, how the culture in USA and other countries is. Okay, they are so keen on validating their idea. Okay, they want their product when they are launching into the market to be the best, to be the to disrupt the whole industry itself. So iWater is actually launching a very this thing, a very revolutionary product into the market. That is the 100% biodegradable bottle. When this started around 3 to 4 months ago. Okay, we were actually searching for something that could help the whole world to be a better place. We had a lot of things on our table, which would, but then also we wanted to do something like that, and that is when we noticed that plastic is. Around 70% of plastics in the ocean is single-use plastic, and majority of it is water bottles. So we noticed that we are a pain problem, and we can't let that happen. And that is why we came up with the idea of 100% biodegradable water bottle. So when we validated our idea, when we went out into the market and asked people that they would be willing to buy it, they said yes. But then, the problem with biodegradable plastic has been that okay, people aren't buying it because it is more of a premium product. People don't have a next best alternative, and that is when we realized that whatever we are making, we'll have to make it at a price of same to plastic or something lesser than plastic, so that people can buy it and the plastic can be gone. So people might not recognize the problem that is being caused by plastic, but we realize that, right? But we as a company did realize that it might take time to make people understand okay, what is the problem with plastic, and it might be very late till then. Many around 4 to 5 species of marine species have died because of plastic, and that is we can't wait till more 4 to 5 die and people realize, and that is why we thought okay, we should innovate our product and we should make it in a way where it is more at the same cost of plastic or less than plastic, so that people can to save money, at least they can buy our product and get it, get this sense of responsibility that they have to reduce plastic usage. That is how we validated our 100% biodegradable bottle wala idea. So, the art of validation is to go and talk to people, non-scalable ideas, but the best data points. How are you going to convert those non-believers into your biggest supporters? So whenever you are going to take feedback, it is important that it is not, it is you, it's not just that okay, you have to go and talk to them and take their feedback. If someone is being resistant towards your idea, if someone is being resistant towards your solution, you don't just leave them there. You ask what is the pain point. You ask what can be, why are they resistant towards your idea, and you make them understand. Okay, this is what is your pain point, and we are trying to solve in this point. So the best part while you are doing your validation is to convert your non-believers into your bigger supporters. So I had this very dear friend of mine. He would always say, "Okay, your idea won't work with iWater, and you'll have to give it up." One day I made him sit. One day I made him understand what we are trying to do. Today he's one of my biggest supporters. Whenever I am doing something like this, talking to people, doing something with iWater, he's always there for me. He's always supporting me in every way possible, because he had this idea in his mind that this is not going to work. But then I made him realize, okay, why would it work? And he saw the vision that I was seeing. He saw the mission that I was on, and as I said, explained, the vision is important, and I explained that particular vision in a way that he would understand, and that is how he became my biggest supporters. So that is what is validation. It is important that you convert your non-believers into your biggest supporters, because if you can't do that, you are not an entrepreneur. You're not fit to be an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs have this very good trait in them. Okay, they can convert anyone into anything, because they have the skill where they talk to people and change their whole idea from this to that. And that is what is important as an entrepreneur, especially when you're into your investor pitches as well. Whenever you're pitching to an investor, he'll ask you questions that no one has ever asked. He'll ask you questions that are out of this world, and to put you under that pressure situation, to make you nervous and see how you're reacting to it. And that is how he knows, okay, this is the right founder that I have to invest in. And that is why investor pitches are, they are so scary. They are so, even I get scared sometimes at investor pitches, but then yes, they do go good. So that is what happens. Investors are they let you, they put you in that particular under a cooker situation, so that they see, okay, what will be your answer, what will your answer be, what type of answer will you bring up, how are you going to face that, and whatever that investor asks is the that will be asked by your customer as well. So indirectly or directly, that is helping you with your pitch. So that is what is a validation, the art of converting your biggest non-believers into your biggest supporters. So now now you might ask me, okay, how should we validate, what is the target, you कोई मेरे को आके बोलेंगे कि I went out there and tried validating, but no one really agreed to my idea. So there's a niche segment that you have to target. So let's say कि there's a sets idea. Let's say it's Guardian jacket. Do you think people would love that idea? So let's say कि WhatsApp का idea. If WhatsApp's founders went to people who are in their old age and said, "Okay, this is what our idea is, and do you think this will work?" I don't think that they'd have launched their company, because they because old people are always resistant towards technology. They don't really want to go to technology, and that is why they wouldn't have validated their idea in a very good way. How did they validate their idea? They validated their idea through their through people who actually face that problem, like how they went to gym and they couldn't drop a message to their wives, uh, wives ke I am in the gym, and they didn't want to disrupt their gym flow, and that is how they went out there and validated their idea. They saw people who might face the same problem. So whenever you're validating, you'll have to find a look-alike audience, a look-alike audience who are likely to be interested in your business, and they're similar to your best existing customers. So the best way of validating is so you there's this quote के सबसे भूखे आदमी को सबसे बेहतरीन बिरयानी खिलाना. That is what his validation is. Okay, whenever you're going out there and talking to people, make sure that he is your target customer. Make sure that he is he must buy your product. At the end of the conversation of that validation, he must either be your customer, or he must be still thoda resistant but a bit more inclined to your idea, and that is who you talk to. It's not it's very important that you find the right target audience while doing your validation. It's very important for you to do that. You'll have to go there, you'll have to see the people you want to target. Um let's say the pani puri wala bandi wala idea, okay, around the bus stop. I don't think old people will have pani puri over there. No, young people who are who go to colleges, or who go to educational institutions, who come back from jobs, who are really tired. They are wanting to have something while on their way back home, a snack or a evening midnight snack. They Those people are whom I will validate with near the bus stop. I won't go around every person asking, "Okay, whom I have to validate it with." I will ask only the people who are likely to be my customer over there, and that is how I will get the best data point that I have to collect. So this is how validation is done. You'll have to talk to your customer. You'll have to. Uh, I'm sorry. Am I audible? I hope I'm audible.
Yep, you're audible.
Yes, yes, audible, audible.
Yes, yes. So sorry for that. So that is what I was saying. Okay, around the bus stop, I will go there. I will go there and ask people who are more likely to be my target customers, who want to be my customers, and that is how I will get the best validation points. That is how I will customize my pani puri ki bandi. Someone will say I want this. Someone will say I want that. Someone will say I want the hygiene to be maintained. Someone will say I want the best pani puri wala in the town to open their outlet over there. And that are the data points that I'm looking for. That are the data points that I want. That is what I want the customer. That is what I want, right? The best for my customer. That is how I will attract customers towards, and that will help me in a greater good. So you have to choose your lookalike audience. You'll have to create a sense of a uh, sense of your target customer in your mind. Okay, this is my target customer, a person aged between 25 to 45, going to college, or going to job, wanting to have a snack on their way back home. That is what you have to envision with your target customer, and that is important. because if you don't, if you go validating out there without any target customer in your mind, you might end up losing that idea, you might end up not working on that idea, you might end up not executing the beautiful solution that you had in your mind, just because of a problem that you didn't validate with the right people. So it's important that you validate with the right people and the target audience that you want to, the people that might be or are going to be your customers. That is how you have to validate. Now there are many types of validation, as I was saying, surveys, or say analytics or Google Trends. So I had this idea, okay, I have to launch something which will uh, let's not go there. But then I had this idea, okay, what if iWater is delivering water to homes, and I wanted to see, okay, is does anyone in on Google go and just search water delivery can at home bulke. I wanted to know that, and that is a way of validation itself, or type of validation itself. Okay, you go on Google Trends, now Google is the answer for everything. If you want something, let it be from a carpenter to electrician to can go google.com/trends. So what Google Trends is, came what they show what volume of searches are being done for that particular search query that you're putting in. So as I said, the delivery can, the search query that I had, I put that into Google Trends, and I saw, okay, around 10,000 other people in Hyderabad itself are looking for that particular search query. And that is how I validated itself. कि 10,000 लोगों को अगर घर में पानी होना, so why am I not doing this? Why am I not delivering water to homes? I pitied myself. Okay, why am I so late in the game? So that is what validation is. I went on to Google Trends, and I just saw, okay, what is the search query that people are putting in if they want water to be delivered at their home, and there are around 10,000 more people who want water to be delivered their home rather than me, besides me. So that is how I validated the idea of delivering water at home with iWater. So you see, Google Trends was a very good validation thing for me, a very good tool for me to validate my idea. So if you guys have an idea, if you guys have a tech idea, if you guys have an FMCG idea or any idea, you just have to go on to google.com/trends and put in a search query that would solve their problem. Let's say also its idea, Guardian. So how many women are actually searching for a jacket that can make them safe? So women wouldn't check through, say, a jacket for keeping me safe. They would say, how do I be safe from people like them? How do I protect myself in the nights? These are the particular search queries that women would more be willing to search on Google rather than a women's safety jacket. And that is where Usaid would come in with a jacket of his. So that is how Usaid can validate this idea as well. Now, how many people are actually searching this Google search query? Okay, this is what is the query, and this is what the solution can be. So this is now many a times. So there's this very good example of Henry Ford. You guys must know Henry Ford. Henry Ford has been is the father of the whole industrial revolution in the early 1900s and in the late 1800s. He was the one who made the car. So, when he was actually going to validate with people, it's a very good quote that he said. Okay, if I ask people what they want, they'd say we want faster horses. No, compare that. Compare. If go back, you're in the late 1800s. A person comes up to you and says के चार पहियों पे गाड़ी चल रही है, आप लोग आपको होना क्या, बोलो बोल के. You say, what is this? I want a faster horse. I want a horse which makes me reach point A to point B much more faster and quicker than the horse I'm actually having right now. So, what did Henry Ford make through that sentence? What did Henry Ford, make us realize through that sentence? He made us realize that, okay, validation can be of different times. When you're innovating something very big, people won't be um, very keen towards this unless they have it in their hands, unless they have it with them. They'd say कि
क्या बोले माइलेज कितना
say
आठ
I
आठ
want
का
this.
अरे फोर व्हीलर लेके चलना है, इससे अच्छा है.
Sorry. They'd say I want this, but then they'd say okay, I want this version to be a better thing of this. I don't want this particular thing. That is how Henry Ford validated its idea. Okay, if I go out and ask people okay, what they want, they'd say faster horses rather than cars. Now, if we look, what are faster, cars or horses? Obviously, cars, right? So when you're innovating something that big, when you have that innovation aspect, when you are innovating that, something very brilliant of a solution, uh, people will be resistant towards it. People would not like that idea. People would say this is not going to work. People will say that you're a madman, like how Asaid said. That people would say कि तुम पागल हो गए, तुम क्या तो भी कर ले रहे हो बोल के. And that is what has happened. That is what will happen if you're innovating something brilliant. People don't realize what they have in their hands until they see what they have, and that is what the whole concept of Henry Ford was. If I ask people what they want, they'd say okay, I want faster horses, we want faster horses. And if Henry Ford went with that validation, cars wouldn't be launched. Someone else would have done that eventually, but then that wouldn't be under the name of Henry Ford, right? And that is why Henry Ford is a revolutionary. After many years of his death, we still, we still remember him. He was a revolutionary. He brought the whole industrial revolution thing. He brought cars into the market. He brought cars into this world, and that is what is, making a change. That is what is innovation. There's just bit of innovation and you are always remembered. You don't want to die on no one ever. You want, to make a history, to make a mark in the history. And that is what Henry Ford did, by innovating a solution that beautiful. And today we see everyone has cars. Car is a basic amenity. Car is a basic necessity. That is how a beautiful solution that he brought up. So when Henry Ford can do it, why can't we do it? Why can't we bring up a beautiful and an innovative solution into the market? So this is why we need to innovate solutions. Why This is why we need to come up with beautiful solutions to problems that people are facing. Now, how do you judge it that your idea is a good or bad idea? Through validation again. If you see, so there are five things that you have to see. Okay, the market. So initially the market. If your particular idea, if your particular idea has grow is been growing for 20% or more, that is a great idea every year. So let's say your problem is there, and that particular solution that you're bringing up, that particular market is growing 20% every year. That is a brilliant solution right there, because the more the market grows, the more your product grows, the more you get better. That is, that is the market aspect of things. And then let's say okay, you have the solution, but then there's already something like that in the market. There's something in like that in the market. So how do you make sure okay, people will buy your product rather than the product that is already uh, that is that is already in the market. You make sure that you're only 20% better than every other competitors of yours. That is how you make sure, okay, that you're best in the market. You just have to be 20% better in every aspect than your competitor. That is how uh, that is how you acquire customers. That is how you get customers on board. You just have to be 20% better in every aspect of your competitor. Let's say you have this idea, you want to launch something similar to Nike shoes. How are you going to make sure that people don't buy Nike shoes and buy your brand of shoes? You just have to be 20% better in every aspect of it. Let it be the cost, let it be the design, let it be anything. You just have to be 20% better in every aspect of it. That is how you make sure that people are acquiring, people are actually buying your product. So coming back to the types of validation, one which I said was Google Trends. Google Trends is the best search engine. This best search engine, this thing where you can see what people are wanting to buy, what people are searching on Google, and what you can bring up for a product itself. That is there. The Google Trends is there. And then the next thing is surveys. As I said, Google surveys and type forms. Google surveys and forms are the best way for you to validate. For is the second best way also to validate your idea through actually having real time feedback. Now, Google Trends was a feedback which you didn't really go out there and see. You just saw what the data had with Google, and you validated your idea. But with surveys, with Google Forms, with these particular surveys, you know okay, what people want. You put the survey out there, and people take that particular survey, and you have the right data points. You see okay, what people want and what people don't want. So you just ask three basic questions, or as if that lock idea. You just ask three basic questions surrounding to your idea, to your solution, and that is how you validate your idea through asking people what they want. Again, as Henry Ford comes in over there, but then it's important that we see that unless your product is very big innovation, it is all right that you validate through surveys and trends as well. So Google Forms and Type Forms are the best way. So to also validate your idea in real time feedback. Now, analytics. Google Analytics is also a very good validation thing. When you're a launched startup and you are wanting to launch a feature into your app or say your website, what you have to do is you just have to connect your Google Analytics to your website. So what happens is, whenever you are launching something new into the market, launching something new of your product into the market. What I do is when we are launching iWater, I'll just put a pop-up over there. In the 100% biodegradable water bottle thing, I just put a pop-up at iwater.co.in. Okay, do you want to reduce plastic as much as possible? I'll just put that pop-up in. I'll see okay, how many people are actually clicking on that link and going to my survey. I'll see that through Google Analytics. Okay, how many people are wanting to see that particular question and answer that particular question if they want to save plastics or not. And that is how I will validate the idea of my 100% biodegradable bottle through Google Analytics. So Google Analytics is actually connected to your website. You just have to put 3 to 4 codes in to your website, and that is how you will validate your you will connect Google Analytics to your website. You can see everything over there. If someone is coming into your website, where are they going, where do they want to go, or what do they want to what do they want to what are they wanting to click, what products are they surfing. Everything is recorded into Google Analytics, and that is why Google Analytics is a very beautiful tool for your validation. Now, which three tools did I say? Google Trends, Google Analytics, and Forms. These are the primary three things you should do while you're validating your idea, and through this you will actually validate your idea 80% till there. The other 20% is to actually go out into the market to actually talk to your target customers, and see if they are wanting to buy it, and that is 100% of your validation. If you do all of these things combined together, you will obviously you will see okay, you will see what people want, and are people wanting to buy the solution that you are coming up with in the market. So coming back to the point of what Henry Ford said, that if I want if I asked people what they want, they'd say faster horses. So no matter what data you have, no matter what data of Google Trends, Google Analytics, or surveys that you take, no matter what data you have in the world, you can build something that stand out outside of this world itself, and that is where you make a mark in history itself. Okay, validation is there, validation is
चल
done, but then when you're making
दुबई तक
something
चलते
that big,
दुबई
when you're making something
जैन
that
दुबई तक
revolutionary, when you're making something that innovationary, that is when you realize, okay, let people go to hell. I will build something that is standing out of this world, because you know people are going to love that particular in the market. Like how Henry Ford did. He knew cars will be the boom. He knew cars will obviously come into the market. Let it be with anything. He knew, okay, he had to launch this so that he can prove that horses are not better than cars. Cars are even more faster than horses. They have many more amenities than horses itself. He was bringing something out of this world, so he didn't really need to validate himself. And that is, he took that risk. He put in that investment. He put in all of his investment of time and money to make that particular car. And that risk paid him off. It wouldn't have paid off as well, it would have paid off. But then because he took that risk, because he put in that investment, because he put in that time into making the car, that is what made him stand out. And today we recognize him as a revolutionary into the market, right? So whenever you're building something that big, you shouldn't care about your customers. You shouldn't validate. You should just you should just think, "Hey, this will obviously disrupt the whole industry." Now, Tesla has been in the news for a long time because of its CEO, Elon Musk. Tesla has been a very great electric car. He validated the whole electric car market in the world. So it's just a similar example of how Flipkart and Amazon worked. So in 2020, what happened is. In 2020, what happened is around Tesla had a $500 million sales in the market, and then in 2021, in the first quarter of 2021, its sales fell 15 to 20%. Why did that happen? Because Ford launched their electric vehicle. They got into the business of electric vehicles. So what did Ford do? Just waited like Amazon did for Flipkart to make sure Indian people are accustomed to the market they are building, and that is what Ford the company Ford did itself. It waited till Tesla, validated the whole electric car market, and then when it was validated, what did it do? It made a car which was 20% better than Tesla, and that disrupted the sales of Tesla. They are selling more than Tesla now. So Ford has been the best. Company, the more like I think second most used car in the whole world. First has to be Toyota. So you see how Ford did. He let Tesla do whatever it was doing. He let Tesla do whatever it has been doing to validate the electric car market. But then as soon as Ford saw, okay, yes, Tesla is doing great. It has launched electric cars into the market, and that is when he realized it's the best time for us to get in the market. People are accustomed to using electric cars, and they launched their Ford electric vehicles. And what did they do? They didn't just launch an electric car. They made sure they were 20% better than Tesla itself, so that people actually buy a product. Now, say if you're accustomed to using a product, why would you move towards something another if that is not better, right? That is the question, right? And so that uh, in your life itself, think, okay, if you are buying water from somewhere, you are good with this water, it is good, it doesn't spoil your stomach, it doesn't hurt you anywhere. And then someone comes again and says कि अपना someone launches into the market, would you go and buy that water? You wouldn't, because you're already accustomed to drinking that water, right? Why would you want to go and buy another this thing? And that is why you'll have to make sure that you have to be 20% better than any other competitors in the market. So that is what Ford did as well. When it launched into the EV market, made sure that it was 20% better than any other car into the market, and they disrupted the sales of Tesla. Now Tesla is making sure that it is more 20% better than Ford, and that is how the cycle continues, and that is how innovation happens. Even innovation doesn't only happen in startups. With these big companies, giants, innovation happens there because they want to make sure that their customers are with them, and if they don't, yeah, if they don't innovate, if they don't keep innovating, they'll start losing their customers. Someone else in the market, some other company in the market will innovate the solution that they are building, and they will launch. They will and the customer base that had been there for the company would go to the company which has been doing innovation. And that is why innovation is a very important aspect while you are working. Whenever you're doing something, make sure that you innovate something or the other for you to stand out. Let it be even poster making, you'll have to innovate something into that. Okay, it should stand out, whenever you're so, in the modern generation, there's this thing, okay? Now an attention span of a average human being is not more than 3 to 4 seconds. So if you are actually designing a poster and putting it out there into onto any social media platform, why would people actually wait and see what is happening? You'll have to create that as something that big, right? You'll have to make that poster eye catching, make that poster, innovate that poster in a way that will stop people, that will stop scrolling of the people, and they see, okay, what is this particular event or whatever the poster is inclining towards, what is that happening because of the design of the poster. So innovation is there in every aspect of it. Until, let's take in design, let's take it anywhere. That is how innovation happens. Now so that is how you that is what is innovation, and that is what happens. Now coming to a point of uh, validation again. Okay, what can you do to make sure? So many people actually come up and ask to me, okay, how should I, how should I, what should I ask to people? What should I ask? Okay, they don't really judge me, and then also give me an answer to my question of validation. That people are come up to me and ask a lot of those questions. Okay, what should I ask to the particular target customer I'm asking? So what you have to do is, whenever you are validating your idea, what you have to do is, you have to just create and frame questions in the best way, and that is how you can validate. So what type of questions do you want to create? Which type of questions can make sure that your idea is validated? That has to be going through the brainstorming stage. So you'll have to create ideas, create questions that good. So whenever so let's say, okay, let's take a good idea. Facebook. Let's take Facebook for example. Now, let's say Mark Zuckerberg is into the market. He is trying to see, okay, what are people doing? What are people doing to stay connected with their friends and family? That is what Facebook does, right? It connects to your friends and family. That it's their initial vision and mission was to make sure that people are connected towards their friends and family through a social media platform. Now, how would Mark Zuckerberg go into the market and validate its idea? He would say, okay, hey, do you think he'd say, okay, he's the CEO of Facebook, and that he is launching something into the market, and that how people think they would like it? That is not how Mark Zuckerberg would validate its idea. No, what Mark Zuckerberg would do is he would go and do it implicitly again. You just go to a complete stranger and ask, okay, when was the last time you talked to your mom? When was the last time you spoke to your school friends? When was the last time you spoke to your college friends? He'd ask these questions. So if someone says 3 weeks ago, say let's say 2 days ago, that someone would say those. So he'd say, why the big span? Don't you think there should be something where even without us being talking, we can see what they are up to, we can see what updates they are having in their lives, we can see what are they doing currently in their life. No, obviously the stranger would say yes, that would be a great product. That will obviously this help me stay connected with my friends and family, and that is how where Mark Zuckerberg validated his whole idea. He did nothing. He just went there and asked a few pain point problem questions. So whenever you're actually taking validation, you shouldn't introduce yourself as the CEO of your company or say anything of your company. You'll have to go and talk to them as a complete stranger, well wishing to them, and just ask questions in a way where you're validating your idea. And that is why the framing of questions is that important. You'll have to frame those questions in a way where they don't really give you the answer. They don't really let the people that you're talking to know that you are actually building something out of it. That is how you get the best way of your validation. If not, if people know what you're if you're building something, they'd obviously get connected towards you and say, and they try to support you and motivate you, but then you don't need your motivation. As how it says, if you're in need of someone motivating you, you're not the right founder. So they'd go and motivate you, and that is not how validation is done. You'll have to make sure You'll have to make sure, okay, you don't give out that you're the founder of a company or say a co-founder of a company and validate in that sense. If you don't validate in that sense, you might not get the best validation, and when you launch in the market, you'll fail because you didn't validate your idea correctly. And that is what happened with my business apparent as well. Whenever I used to actually validate, I used to go and say, okay, I am the CEO of this company and I'm doing this. People would get obviously more supportive towards my idea, and they'd say, okay, yes, I think this is a great idea and you should do this. I never really got a great feedback. I never really got the implicit feedback that I was looking for, and that is what I learned through my experience of validating. That is what I learned through my experience of solving problems. Now there was the second idea which I did, where I saw, okay, many students, many individuals want to learn English, but they can't. Let it be of any age group. They are particularly very professional in the language of their mother tongue, but then they are not very proficient in English. So what did I do? I just went there and asked them, okay, if I connect the basics of English to the basics of your mother language, would you be able to learn it? Many people said yes, that will help us learn much more easier, and that is where I created a patented learning solution. What I did is I just connected the basics of learning English the basics of their particular mother language. So let's say anyone's mother language is Urdu. So what I did is I made sure that particular things were connected to the basics of English, and that is how I graduated around 40 people who didn't even know English to a stage that they were having fluent conversation in a span of 40 days. That was my second idea language ladder. So that is how I validated that in the market. I made sure that it was pro bono because learning a new language isn't shouldn't cost you much, and it's obviously for the greater good. And that is when I realized, now if I would have charged for it, people would be willing to pay it, but then people who are actually willing to pay for it, they already know English, and that is how I validated it. If I would have charged, say, okay, 10,000 for 40 days, and you'll from no alphabet level to a great level, you'll learn English, people, no one would have paid me, because people who are actually wanting to pay 10,000 rupees for 40 days, they already know English, right? They wouldn't pay. So that was the case. I charged a very nominal fee of 250 rupees for 40 days and made sure that whatever I was doing was for the greater good, and people get to learn what they are, people, especially in these times when English is a universal language, more probably like that. And hacking school is a very good example of validating your idea as well. No? So the hacking school is the first and finest coding boot camp in India itself. So coding in 2013-14 wasn't a great skill set. Now, if you say in more 2 years, coding is going to be as important as learning English. So now when they started back around in 2013-14, they actually, what happened was the founder was looking to create something very good application, and he couldn't create it because he didn't find those particular engineers in the market, particularly those engineers equipped with skills. He went to many colleges for granting placements to many students who are actually that helpful in building him that product, but he found out that no one is that equipped with skills, and that is where he realized the problem. Okay, there is no proper coding being taught in colleges, and he should make something that will stand out and let people know that he's teaching coding. So when he initially launched this company, he got not more than four to five people in his first boot camp, not more than in his first cohort. But then he went on doing it. He made sure that he validated with people what they want. He went to companies and asked, okay, what type of engineer do you want? What type of engineer would you be willing to pay for? What type of skills do you want him to have? And that, whatever skills that the companies recommended, that is what he incorporated with the program of his, so that whatever engineers whoever engineers are graduating from his coding boot camp are already people who are in with those in demand skills. And that is how he validated. He just went out to he saw those companies as his customers and these students as his students. He went out to those companies and asked, okay, what do you want in an engineer to be? And those skills which were there in demand then, that is what is being taught in that boot camp. That is a brilliant way of validating as well, right? No, he didn't have a product. He had a service of teaching students coding. But then, How would he know, okay, what he has to teach? What did he do? He went out there, and what is the main problem that people were facing? Lack of jobs, right? Why are people having lack of jobs? Because they don't have proper skills. They lack proper skills that are required for the market in demand, right? So what did he do? He just went out there. He researched and spoke to many companies. Okay, what is that in-demand skill that people require? And that in-demand skills were incorporated into the course itself. And now I guess they are running their 20th to 21st cohort, and they are a very successful company because the founder himself validated. Yes, and coming to the point of validating, so you don't hire someone to validate your idea. You can't hire someone. That is a very wrong thing that people do. Okay, they hire someone to validate their idea, and that is not what you have to do. Whenever you are a founder or co-founder of your company, you love your company. You have a passion to build your company, so you should have a passion towards your customers as well. So you should have this particular passion towards your customer as well. If you don't have that, if you don't have that passion towards your customer, it is impossible for you to actually make a product that is in demand right now. So many founders do this mistake where they pay someone के जाओ भाई बात करो लोगों से and see के they are if they are wanting to if they are wanting to actually pay, if they are actually wanting to pay for the product that they want. Those people who are paid for, they don't really know. They only give the feedback. Uh, and they only give the feedback that is being given from the customer. They don't see the implicit feedback that the founder has to see to make sure that he has the product ready for the market. And that is why whenever you're a founder or a co-founder, you will have to make sure that you go yourself into the market and validate your idea yourself. If you are not doing that, you cannot launch a product that wants to have customers on board. So whenever you get an idea, make sure that you don't hire someone. Make sure that you go and validate yourself into the market. If not, it is not happening. If not, you not know, okay, what people want. If you don't validate yourself, people wouldn't know what they want. So if you don't know what people want. So that is why you have to make sure that whenever you have an idea, you frame those questions yourself, you make that structure flow yourself, you make those target customer yourself, and you yourself go and validate for that particular idea of yours. If you don't do these, then you're not the right founder. You can't really hire someone and just ask them, okay, go and validate this. These are the data points that you have to make sure that people are having, because obviously that is not how validation is done. If someone is coming up who is paid and ask you three to four questions with no passion in his voice, and you just say something out there, okay, "नहीं बात करना है तुम्हारे से चल जाओ," what is the getting out of there? What is the answer to the solution that he wants? Nothing, right? And that is why you cannot really pay someone for you can't really pay someone to validation. So it is an important thing that you go out there and validate yourself. A founder needs to validate itself. That is what is validation is. Now, what happens after validation? What do you do after validation? So uh, after validation, there is this point. Okay, whoever you are talking to, that is to be documented always. Uh, One sec. My battery went. One sec. Sorry, my battery was running out. So yes, so what do you do after validation? What is the process that you have to do validation? Like I told you, these many types of validation can be done for you to validate. But then, what is that one thing that you have to do?
Rehan, excuse me, but you're not audible. Your voice is mustard, I feel.
Is it audible now?
Yeah, it's audible now.
Yes, that's great. Thank you,
Awesome,
Sid.
awesome. Continue. Loving it.
Yes. So, what do you do after What do you do after validating? So, whatever I told till now, whatever I addressed to you till now, what the types of validation and what are the basic steps that you have to take for validation? But then, what is that you have to do while validating or after validating? So, whenever you are validating, you'll have to document everything that is to be asked for. You'll have to create this sheet or say, okay, a particular data point structure where you write those questions and write a particular name. So whoever you're talking to, ask their age, ask what they are doing, ask what their family background is, ask what is their background, what is their educational qualification, something like that. And make sure that you're making sure that that is documented and whatever answer they are giving. So you'll have a clear structure. So let's say you're talking to me. I'm an 19 year. So I'm from this college and I'm from this particular background. You're documenting that and you're asking me you're asking me how your solution is. So I will give a solution from my point of view, and then you go out there and you talk to someone who's a 60-year-old, and he will say a perspective of his own this thing, right? So you have you know through that you can also know who your target customer is. If you don't actually know who your target customer is, through that you'll know, okay, who your target customer is, who's willing to buy, who's which age group is actually loving your solution, which age group is wanting to take your product, which type of people are wanting to buy your product. That is how you'll have to document everything. Whenever you're actually talking to people, make sure that you record the call. If it's in a call, make sure that you record it. If it's in a chat, make sure you save those messages that are there. If it's one-on-one conversation, make sure that your phone's mic is on and you're recording that conversation. Because when you go back home and review what you have been doing, review what the validation has been done, what the validation is going to give to you, you'll have to make sure that is being documented. If not, if you're talking to around 30 people in a day for validation, you won't even remember one conversation out of it. It's all messed up in your mind, right? So it's important that you document whatever whatever you're validating with, or whoever you're validating with. The better the documentation, the better the result of the validation. And documentation works in every way of it. The better the documentation in every aspect of your company, the better the target results will be. Let it be the vision mission, let it be the validation, let it be marketing, let it be the prototyping stage or any stage, the business model stage. The more you document, the better data points that you have. And that is why documentation is a very important aspect in many multinational companies. I have seen companies recording every meeting of theirs. I have seen companies recording a little one-on-one conversation between a manager and a employee's office, because they know, okay, what they have to take into that data, and that is why data analyst is a very data analysis is a very in-demand skill into the market, because people are wanting to analyze the data that is there. The better they analyze the data, the better the product they can launch into the market. If they don't analyze the data, if the data that is being collected is not hygiene, if it is not even being collected, what are they going to do with it? What are they going to launch? What do they have for people to see? What are the data points that are required? As Osset said, that data points are necessary, and that is why data points are necessary. If there is no data hygiene, there is no data from which people can look out and actually see why your product is actually required into the market. Why will people be willing to buy it? Now when I say I want to build a 100% biodegradable water bottle, how do I say that plastic is killing? You'll have to have data, and I'll have data about that. Around 70% plastic is single use plastic, and majority of it's contributed from this thing, from plastic bottles. If I don't make sure that my 100% biodegradable water bottle is launching in the next month, around three more marine species are going to die. And these all of these data, around 45 metric tons, are being dumped into the ocean. All of these data, if I don't account for while validating with a customer, or an individual, he would say, "Ki, why should I buy the biodegradable water bottle if I don't know the harms of plastic?" See, and that is why data is important in every aspect. Data is gold. There's a very good saying in our startup culture that data is gold, and it is actually more important than gold. The better data that you have for your solution, the better data that you have, the better product that you can bring. And that is why Google Trends is, and that is why I recommended Google Trends for you guys to validate your idea, because Google Trends has the whole data of your of whatever search engine is whatever search query is being entered into its engine. So whatever you are actually searching is also being stored in the data server of Google. So if someone wants to see, okay, what is that one search query that people are searching in Hyderabad itself, they easily go to google.com/trends and see what is there. See, and because of this, because of what Google Trends is doing, many people are also finding it easier to actually validate their idea, and that is why data is gold. So it's important for you also to validate your to actually document what conversation that you're having with your customers, with the people that you the target customers that you want to have. If you actually don't have a target customer in your mind while you're validating, because of your validation that you're doing, will you will also get a image in your mind, ke, what your target customer has to be. See, look how beautiful the process is. Because of validation, you can also get to know who your target customer is. You can also get to know who you want to charge and how are you going to get rich through that. See, that is why validation and documentation is important. So that is documentation. Okay, you should actually document whatever so what does this happens after validation. You'll have to document everything at one place, so that while you're building now what happens after documentation. After documentation, what happens is, while you are building your product, you'll have to take every data point that has to be looked for. If you don't take that data point, then it is a flop product. So when I was working on my 100% biodegradable water bottle wala idea, if I didn't document, if I whatever I have documented, I take that in my product building side. Whenever I am building my product, I make sure that I tick every box that has to be ticked from the data points that I collected while I was doing my validation. So let's say, okay, someone said, okay, make sure that the bottle is stiff enough that so that if it falls 2 to 3 times, it doesn't damage the bottle. So I'll make sure to test my bottle 2 to 3 times and throw it down so that it doesn't damage, because that is the data point that I've collected from validation, right? So while you're building your product, after your validation stage happens, after your documentation stage happens, you'll have to make your product from the data points that you have collected from the validation that you have done. Well, let's say if someone would say how do you should keep a cap, single use bottles can't work. So I'll make sure I'm building something that is not single use, and I will innovate something in a way where people who are actually drinking water through my biodegradable bottle can reuse it for multiple times or thrice or four times, so that data point is also collected. And that how did that happen? Because I validated, because I went out there and started asking to people what do they want, and I documented it. So while you're building your and that is why product build, as I said, sell first, build later. I've in the initial part of my session, as I said, sell first, build later. That will happen only when that will happen, because that has to happen. If you don't sell first, if you don't sell your solution, you cannot build what has to be built. If you don't have those particular data points, whatever you're trying to build will not be the need in the market, and your product will be a fail, like how next was for Steve Jobs. you know what happened what happens in these multinational companies is they always sell this thing. So there was this very beautiful marketing campaign of Amazon just now, like 2 days ago. What it was doing is everywhere on its every social media platform, what it did was it broadcasted okay, there's a very big season coming, there's a very big surprise coming for all the prime users that are there. Everyone got carried away with that, and people were asking what is that, what is that, or the hype was created. What is Amazon bringing for us? Is this another flash sale for 2 days where everything is so cheap, or is it something very brilliant of an idea that they are launching into the market? They were all of us were really this thing. Even I was wanting to see what Amazon is doing through this. Then they launched it today. What they did, they connected eight OTT platforms on their Prime. So anyone who's using Prime, who has paid for a Prime membership, have eight OTT platforms to surf from. That is a beautiful way. And how did they validate that? They just went to those OTT platforms and saw what people are wanting to see. That particular content was picked up and put into the Prime platform. That is how they did. So let's say Eros now is also this thing connected with Prime after the recent acquisition. So what did Prime do? They saw what is actually pulling people from Prime Video. What is actually people? What are people actually doing? Not on Prime but on other OTT platforms. The Prime actually saw this. Amazon actually saw this. People are going onto those other eight OTT platforms, and that they are not spending time on their Prime membership, rather than, and they are spending time on the other ideas. And so the Amazon Prime realized that, and what did they do? They acquired all of those eight OTT platforms, so that they get to reap the benefit out of the they get to reap the benefit of those eight OTT platforms. Like how Osed used a very good example of Facebook. Know how Mark Zuckerberg actually acquired a WhatsApp and Instagram. WhatsApp was acquired for $19 billion. 19 billion. That's a big number, right? WhatsApp was actually acquired for $19 billion. You know what Mark Zuckerberg did? Mark Zuckerberg saw people are actually driving away from Facebook and using this new whole thing that is WhatsApp. We are just chatting over there. What should I, he was in a dilemma. Okay, what should he do? He created this messenger app similar to WhatsApp and launched it into the market. But then people were actually getting driven more towards WhatsApp, and they weren't getting driven towards Messenger. People were actually using WhatsApp to stay in touch. What did Mark Zuckerberg do for that idea? He made sure that he acquired the company, so that there is no other competitor for him. He waited till WhatsApp validated the whole idea, and then he acquired itself. That is what giants do, market giants do. They wait till you validate and get you a very good deal. $19 billion is not a bad deal for a company that started 4 years ago, right? It was acquired in 2014. So in a span of 6 years, uh, 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 those two founders got you know those two founders got a they created wealth of $19 billion in just 6 years. See, that's how uh, That's how big innovation is. That's how big innovators are, right? So and that is how validation has to happen. That is how validation has to take place. I hope this validation session of mine was useful to you guys. Also, to carry on with the vision and mission thing. No, that is what I say. Okay, you should. If anyone wants to write down, you guys should actually write this down as well. Okay, the important points of validation can be to first to create frame questions the best way, to have it in a conversation, more in a conversation flow rather than more in a pitching flow. Pitch is to be done when you are talking to a bunch of people around you. And yes, this is a very good point that I forgot to say. You'll have to also tap into the community groups. No, our incubator, they hold a Founders Friday where many like-minded people come into the session and see what other people have ideas. There they can validate. There you can validate your idea as well. That is what I do with my new ideas. What I do is I just go there and pitch my idea, whatever my idea is. So there are around 50 to 60 people are there, 100 to 120 people are there who are actually like-minded, and they can see what my idea is. And through that, I've validated my idea right then and there. So this is a very good way to validate yourself as well. You'll have to tap into the community groups of startups there as well. You'll have to go on Facebook and Instagram, search for community groups that are around startups, and just go there. Just register for an event. You can also register for Founders Friday and just validate your idea over there as well. So that is how validation can happen. And that is how validation has to happen with through community groups as well, through implicit conversation with target customers of yours, through Google Trends, through Google Service, through type forms and Google Forms. That is how validation has to happen. And make sure that you document everything that has been that you have done for a validation. If you don't document, then it is of no use. So anything that is not documented is never done. That is what we say in our startup culture. Anything that is not documented is never done. So let's say you're marketing around 40 people around the day and you're not documenting it. So you market it to zero people that day. So that is how documenting is important. So make sure that you document whatever you are validating through, and make sure that people actually and make sure that you collect those data points and build a product that the market is needing. If you don't do that, then you'll be a flop into the market. With those particular data points, if you create a product that will obviously stand out and make sure that people are wanting it. So that was the whole bottom line of this session. Okay, make sure you're documenting everything that you're validating through, and you're building a product with those data points that are required. So yes, that was it from my side with this session. I hope all of us here were able to understand what my aim was towards explaining what validation is and how you should validate. I gave you three resources that you should go and check after the session. Google.com/trends. If you guys have any idea, you should actually validate your idea through that. So I'll drop my Instagram handle in the chat box. So if you guys have any doubt on how to validate, or say how do you guys want to talk to people and validate your idea, you guys can always reach out to me. I'll make sure I'll help you as much as I can. And also, that was it from my side. Thank you to Shadan Educational Society for having me on board as a speaker today and to explain what validation was. I hope it was as much helpful as to you guys as it was to me, to share my experience and make sure people know how to validate. Thank you also, Said, for bringing me along over here. I loved your session of vision and mission as well. Thank you to everyone over here.
No, Abdurrahman, it was just mind-boggling. What you did here. In just a span of 1.5 hours, you almost made sure that you delivered the whole one-day session, and that was amazing. I'm not sure about others or someplace, but I know I got around what 50 plus points, which needs to be noted down for being validation. And I feel like if somebody even follows 10 to 15% of what you just mentioned, he will surely be successful in his mission of success validation his idea. It was again fantabulous to have you on board. An honor to be a talk panelist with you as well, Abdul Rahman. Amazing.
Thank, thank you, Sid. I hope everyone of us over here, make sure that you guys validate your idea in a perfect way and not do a mistake that I did with my first startup.
Oh yeah, awesome. So over to you, sir. Um, Jyoti Kumar sir, are you there on the line?
Hello,
Yeah,
Used?
yes sir.
Yes, 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 actually. So I think session is completed, huh?
Yes sir.
Sir, it is, thank you very much, Rahman sir, Rahman Akbar sir, the co-founder, CFO and CMO. So on behalf of Sadan College and we have SCET IIC cell, I'm thanking you both. Both the speakers are very good. What the knowledge you had given to our students are very, very highly appreciated, and it is very useful for their life. Thank you very much, and I hope so in the future also we'll meet in IIC. Okay. Thank
For
you very
sure.
much for both of you.
So thank you for
Thank you, sir.
Thank you sir.
having us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye. Giaga.